Welcome back to HealthCare Consumerism Radio. This is Jonathan Field here. Our next segment is going to be with Evan Richardson, Vice President of Product at Grand Rapids. Welcome to the program, Evan.
How are you, John? Good to talk to you again.
We're doing well. To start off, can you just give us a little background about Grand Rounds?
Yeah, absolutely. So in a nutshell, Grand Rounds is the best way for folks to make sure that they're accessing high-quality care. We help folks to access that level of care by providing them a route to get into the highest 0.1% quality physicians. These are the folks who are practicing really at the cutting edge of their disease areas, the folks that are at the cutting edge of clinical practice, the cutting edge of research practice, and we allow patients to access those physicians directly either in their offices or through our cloud platform for an expert opinion.
Hey, Evan, this is Doug. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Doug. Thanks. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks, and I really appreciate you being with Jonathan and I this morning. Talk a little bit about your co-founder. He has a very unique story behind his vision and kind of the impetus for founding this company.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dr. Rusty Hoffman is the head of interventional radiology here at Stanford University. He's really one of the world leaders in the science of the treatment of deep vein thrombosis. And here, a couple of years ago, one of his sons, Grady, who at the time was only about 8 years old, was diagnosed with a really terrible blood-based disease, aplastic anemia, that presented with what looked like the need for a liver transplant. And I think it's tough to overstate the extent to which his son's life really was on the line. Now, because of who Dr. Hoffman was, because of the connections he has in the medical field, because he is such a deep medical insider, he was able to access treatments that were right at the cutting edge of care. He was able, in some cases, to access treatments from studies and trials that were as yet unpublished, and to make sure that his son really was seeing not just the standard of care, not just the higher standard of care that one might see at some of the cutting-edge treatment facilities, but really absolutely the best care in the world. And he was only able to do that because of who he was. Today, his son is doing great. He was taking batting practice with his Little League here a couple of weeks ago and is looking forward to going back to class. And I think that experience for Rusty of recognizing that had he not had access that he did have, his son might have had a very different outcome. Mm-hmm. I think that experience really underlined for him the need that everybody has to make sure that they're accessing truly cutting-edge care, to make sure that their loved ones and that they themselves have access to the best care in the world.
Evan, there's a lot going on around access, which is a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of innovation taking place. There's a lot of choices that people are, that people have and employers have for their employees. I mean, give us the unique value proposition of Grand Rounds.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for Grand Rounds, what we promise is the ability for patients, either directly as a consumer or as an employee at a covered employer entity, to access the best care either in the office of or indirectly through our cloud platform, access the best care in the world. We do that through two key products. The first one is a Grand Rounds visit. And with a Grand Rounds visit, we find the top practicing physician in a patient's given area, and we put that patient in that practitioner's office for an in-person visit. And there, we've really taken all the hard work of figuring out who the high-quality physician in a given area is for a specific disease need, not just figuring out, hey, this is a good orthopod, but, hey, this is a great orthopod for your traumatic knee injury. And we've taken all that work that really is, frankly, almost impossible for a non-healthcare insider to do, and we've done that work, and we've put folks in the office of those top practitioners. And then once somebody is diagnosed with a serious disease, we take all of their information, we package up all of their records, all of their images, all their pathology, we put together a 360-degree health profile, and we put that in front of one of the disease leaders in the space in the nation. So really the top 1, 2, or 3 physician in a given disease area. We put it in front of them using our cloud platform and our technology suite. And we make sure that that physician renders a new diagnosis and a new treatment plan for that patient. And shockingly, in about 65% of the cases that we see on that cloud platform, our top physicians actually change the diagnosis or change the treatment plan for those patients that are coming in. So, really huge impact for the level of care that folks are seeing, whether they're seeing a physician in the office or whether they're seeing somebody for an expert consultation online.
Excellent, excellent. Now, you recently changed your name from Consulting MD to Grand Rounds.
Yes.
What's the background on why you did that?
We're really excited. We're really excited about that. Grand Rounds is a tradition that goes back to the 19th century at hospitals like Johns Hopkins, where the top physicians in the hospital, the top physicians from around the area, would gather together to work on the most difficult cases that the hospital was seeing and really leverage each other's knowledge to figure out the best course of care for a given patient. We are, in many ways, continuing that tradition in the modern era. We are taking tough cases and putting them in front of absolutely world-leading physicians. And so in many ways, we represent sort of the next step for the tradition of Grand Rounds brought into the modern era.
Very, very interesting. What's the business model for employers to offer this to their employees and their families?
That's a great question. And I think it's an important one to talk about. So we do offer direct to consumer, but most of our cases today come in through partnered employers. The model there is simply one of a per employee per month fee that the employer pays in order to offer the service free of charge to their employees. And the companies that we've partnered with so far today have done this for a couple of reasons, and they really stand out. Many of them look at this as a way for them to really differentiate themselves amongst the other companies with whom they're competing for talent. Out here in Silicon Valley, the competition for talent is fierce, and one of the things that folks have really focused on is the ability for them to offer this awesome new benefit to their employees and really show that they're focused on the quality of their employees' care, not simply sort of making sure that they do have basic health care coverage. That's one key piece. I think, though, another important piece is the recognition by a lot of employers that higher quality health care costs less. And, this isn't like most other consumer goods where to get the best you pay more. But instead that when you treat somebody well, when you treat them effectively the first time, and you make sure they're getting the very best treatment from the start, their episode costs are actually dramatically lower. And so many of our employees are also coming to us as a cost-saving benefit.
What do you see the impact, and are you engaged with talking to exchanges as a delivery model for Grand Rounds?
Yeah, I think that the exchange model is a really interesting one, and I think it's one that we see a lot of opportunity for. Of course, I think one of the things that we'll have to see is really how some of these exchanges get started and how they continue to be built out. But I think it's an area that we're excited to participate in.
Yeah. It can be our latest guest was really bullish on exchanges. I'm actually pretty bullish on where I see private exchanges, defined contribution working, and I think, where you fit very well is that the successful exchanges beyond this year, because this year I think a lot of them are going to deliver basic benefits, but the future is to deliver a complete consumer experience to the employees and their families.
I think that's exactly right, and I think whether it's exchanges, whether it's ACOs, when you start with the exchanges to have consumers making choices about their own health care and about exactly what kind of coverage they're receiving, that's going to make a huge difference. And I think people have been incredibly excited, incredibly positive about having this as a benefit when we're in a partner company, and so we see a huge amount of opportunity for building this benefit into new benefit designs that are part of those exchanges.
Are you is Grand Rounds funded right now with,
We are.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were excited to receive a $10 million round here from Venrock Capital not too long ago, and that's been a great boost for us.
I think, is that coming to you because your footprint, I see a very successful footprint, but you're also tied to the excitement around healthcare IT, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, we're really excited to be a part of the north of $300 million of investment that's happened over the last year. For us, we see this as being part of a much broader mosaic. When you have a $2.2 trillion and growing healthcare problem, there's no one company that's going to fix all of that. Right. We're incredibly focused on the quality problem, on the access problem, and we know that there we can provide a solution that is so far and away different from what other folks have been looking at, that we think that we have an opportunity to really to dominate in that space. And I think that we'll be a huge part of that piece of the mosaic. There will be a number of other companies that have real roles to play in changing healthcare more broadly, and we're excited to see how this ecosystem continues to build out.
Are you utilizing brokers to take your message to employers and to try to sell your solution through, or what is your sales strategy?
We have not leveraged brokers directly yet. I think that's something that, as we continue to build out, will probably be a part of our sales approach. But yeah, absolutely. Over time, that's one way that we'll go to market.
Okay. And working with benefit consultants with some of the larger companies, you're working with some leading benefit consulting firms?
Yes, absolutely. I think we've been happy to have conversations with a lot of the usual suspects, and I think they see what we're doing as a great way to really bring a true all-encompassing quality solution to their employers with whom they're partnered.
Excellent. Well, we got about 2 minutes to go here, Evan, and I really have respected your time, today, and give our audience, some clear takeaways that you'd like to leave them with about Grand Rounds and how they can connect with you, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we should be, in a lot of folks' mind, the place that they turn to really find a quality solution for their employees' healthcare, to really ensure that their employees are able to access the highest quality healthcare, whether they are just entering the healthcare system and need to get a Grand Rounds visit, or whether they've been diagnosed with something significant and need to have a Grand Rounds opinion, an expert opinion, delivered from one of the leaders in the world in their disease state. And we found that folks deeply respect and really appreciate that benefit, and we found that it in many cases really changes the way that employees and employers think about their relationship. And so, I think for us, it's exciting to be able to offer a benefit like this. It's exciting to be able to see the impact this has on the quality of folks' care, the impact that it has on outcomes. And it's also just exciting to see the way that people have reacted to it. So easy to access us. We've got our website at grandroundshealth.com, and we're always available to answer calls and to start cases.
Evan, thank you so much for joining us. And to our audience, you can also find a write-up on Grand Rounds on the IHCC site as well. You have a good weekend, Evan, and I really appreciate you joining us. And to our audience,
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay tuned to the next segment, HealthCare Consumerism Radio.